Alright, we should be underway here in just a moment. Did not let me... I spectate! I readied up to spectate! Why did it unspectate me? Come on. So I was readied up to spectate, and it looks like the bloody game unspectated me. I hope this doesn't end up causing a significant visual issue. I hope I can still see all the cars. I don't even need the paint schemes, as long as I can still see all the cars. Alright. Here's your 6 prototype drivers. The ticker still seems to be completely busted, even though I reset my game, go figure. Okay, so now the starting order has been completely randomized, it seems. Or maybe not randomized, maybe they actually got Stint 10 distances properly recorded now. Excuse me! Sorry about that, people. Alright, so your pole center now looks like it will be the Apex entry, the number 45, followed by the 93, driven by Coca Gamer, the 69 with Zarby, then the 822, followed by the 27, and the 365, that would be your prototype entries. Then for GT, it's going to be the 30 black and white, that will be the HYR Warner entry, followed by the 310 BMW, scored Buffalo, and the 531 IFEA entry, the 694, I believe that's AMS Beast in the Ford GT, the 824 LMP Esports entry, I believe this is flag 4199, followed by 242 BMW, the 73 Ford GT, then it will be the 75 Porsche, the 44 Apex Porsche, the 157 NWR BMW, the 85 EMC Porsche, that is the lobby host in the form of EMC Vision, and then the 825 Ferrari, which is driven by LMP N98, should round out the rest of the field here. Okay, so we've actually had some level of ticker movement here early on, so fingers crossed, hopefully this means we're actually going to be able to get this going this time by. Alright, we should start rolling in about 30 seconds here. You should be able to audibly hear the cars when they start moving. Alright, we'll see our top 6 and protos roll by here. Field's actually a little bit more tightly gathered up this time than before. And we are underway once again. Hopefully we can finally get this race going. The entire top 3 in prototypes all still staying nose to tail with each other right now. It is Jackal, Coca, and Tharby. Coca now trying to hold off a charge on the outside by Tharby. Now Coca looks to the inside. They're going to be 3 wide. They waited no time whatsoever. Immediately we are going 3 wide, going down the back straightaway. Someone's going to have to back out early. Who's it going to be? And it's Coca who goes in deeper, slides out wide, has a big twitch, and it looks like he's got it for now. But both of the drivers behind have a better run out. He can only block one of them. And it looks like it's MRT Jackal who's going to try, but here comes Tharby again. They're going to be 3 wide again. The entire top 6 immediately all on top of each other here. Someone has to back out again. You can't enter the second. Mulsanne Chicane 3 wide. Who's going to back out? And it's Tharby who backs out. And there's contact between Jackal and Coca, and Tharby tries to cross back over. He gets back ahead of Coca. And Jackal is back to the lead here. It looks like for the moment Tharby has it, and now he begins to open up a gap on the rest of the grid. Tharby has been one of, sorry, I keep saying Tharby. I apologize. It's Zabri. Zabri has been one of the fastest drivers all night, but has been snake bitten with bad luck. He will hope to try and open up a nice large gap on the field now, so if he gets snake bitten with some bad luck, he's not going to lose as much time to them. Big twitch by Coco right ahead of Leakshirt there. Coca gets back alongside the Apex entry, which has MRT Jackal inside of it, but Jackal has the ideal inside line of choice. Coming out of Arnage, squeezes Coca, but doesn't put him into the wall. For now, Jackal has it. Coca continuing to hang out right in the draft as they come up into the Porsche curves once more. Here comes Coca. He'll make a move, dive to the inside of Jackal, but has to back out of it, so Jackal still enters into the Porsche curves without too much issue this time. Ooh, Coca bounces the car off the outside wall. So now he's slipping to third. Here comes Leakshirt now. I'm hoping the ticker will reset itself as the field gets by the start-finish line here, but if that doesn't happen, we just may be plumb out of luck. Oh! And that's Jackal, who's into the dirt! So now Coca goes back into second. Leakshirt right behind. And no, the ticker did not fix itself, so we are going to be dealing with a completely busted ticker throughout this event. ENV Rouge in the GT category has had a disconnect right on the first lap, but after 4 attempts, they are not going to try another restart here. We are already so far behind schedule. But Zabri has already opened up the gap and is just walking away from the rest of the prototype field here. Coca runs in second and now has to try and keep Leakshirt behind. Coca outside, Leakshirt inside on the run into the first of the Mulsanne chicanes. And that's a big twitch by Leakshirt, and he gives Coca a hip check, and Coca nearly goes into the outside wall in the process. So now it's D. Chris Slow, who is fighting with Jackal to try and get second. After a big dive by Leakshirt, followed by a swinging hip check between himself and Coca, puts both of them back to what is 4th and 5th in the prototype category. But it looks like D. Chris Slow has it just for the moment. Jackal Just close enough to get a draft, but not close enough to make a big dive into the Mulsanne corner. Not this time. Mr. Pinap in the GT category has had to pit immediately, likely due to some sort of incident. Oh, and that is... Who is that that just went off there? Was that Firebird? That was not Firebird. It was Coca by the looks of it. He went sliding off there out of Mulsanne corner. And while this car started second, it has now fallen to a distant sixth already here in the prototype category. Meanwhile in GT, is HYR Warner leading AMS Beast and IFEA's own Scored Buffalo. Ferrari, Ford, BMW for our top three positions, with another BMW hanging out in fourth right now. Ferraris have been incredibly good on straight line speed compared to most of the other cars that we have had thus far. That BMW entry driven by Scored, his biggest strength has been balancing the tire wear, making sure that he's extracting the most out of all the tires evenly. It lets him push very aggressively deep into the tire life. So there's still a chance that this red and white BMW could still get into the lead very quickly here, especially if there ends up being any issues that our current leader in GT, Warner, has. Ferrari will lose the most ground to those two following here in the Porsche curves. Ferrari's just been generally weaker here. Scored looking, just peeking to the outside, but he's not going to force the issue right now. He doesn't have to go out there and absolutely destroy someone on track. He can just wait for the drivers ahead to burn up their tires and just get by them when he has a significant tire advantage. But no Sotelo are the top three in GT here. Big twist by AMS Beast. And that's EMC Vision and PTG Eric coming into the pits already. I'm not sure what's happened to them to warrant that. They've only done about 3 laps. Ford GT has caught the Ferrari at the head of the GT category field. As they head down through the Dunlop curves. Gap opens up now back in Warner's favor. The Beast has a good enough run out of Tetra Rouge coming onto the Mulsanne. He should be able to get a little bit of draft off the Ferrari. If not, he's going to be in trouble because he's got 2 faster BMWs tucked up right behind him right now. All right, he's got a draft. He's pulling up. He'll have just enough time to pull to the inside and make a big lunge under braking. The Ford GT brakes so late and can go so deep into the corners, and he's got him. Minimal issue. And Beast goes to the lead, although Warner is immediately fighting back on the outside. And here comes Scored Buffalo. He's going to be on the outside. They are 3 wide in the GT category lead now. Ferrari, BMW, Ford, all in a drag race. And it looks like it will be the BMW who might have the nose ahead coming to the braking zone. Or not, the Ford GT is accelerating. I think Scored Buffalo wants to back out, but he can't back out. There's a car behind it. It's Beast who lunges deepest into the corner, still ahead as they come out of the second Mulsanne chicane. He has a Ferrari behind him once more now. Does Warner push the issue? He's trying. Warner goes to the inside in the Ferrari. Ford outside, Ferrari inside in the heaviest braking zone on the track. The Ford might be able to lunge deep under braking, but the Ferrari has a nice smoother run through. And Warner goes back to the lead. And now Beast once again has scored Buffalo tucked up right behind him. These four pretty much in a zone all their own right now, have completely gapped the rest of the GT field. Ford GT looks to the outside, trying to swing in on the exit of Indianapolis. Warner has a big slide, but puts the car right in front of the Ford GT. So Beast is not able to get alongside as they head into Arnage. Not this time, not here. Ooh, big block in the middle of a corner as well by the Ferrari of Warner, trying to keep Beast behind. But it looks like for now, Warner has the advantage in this fight. Zabri continues to lead and slowly extend his gap on the rest of the field. So for those of you watching, we have a ticker malfunction right now in the prototype for the entire field, but it's a lot bigger of a problem for the prototypes. The game is not properly recording everyone's position, so I'm just trying to keep my eye on it and memorize it the best as I can. Your leader in prototypes is currently THR Zabri. Second place is MRT Jackal. Third place is D. Chris Slow. Fourth is, I believe, Lee Sherd. Yeah, and then it will be Firebird. And then after that, last in prototype is Coca. Coca tried to start up front, was really aggressive for a while, but ended up sliding off in the Mulsanne corner and fell from second to sixth, and has just completely lost touch with the rest of the prototype field. But other than that, it seems to be pretty. That seems to be pretty much it. All right. Meanwhile, the fight amongst the top four in the GT category. The Ford GT has opened up a bit of a gap, but he's not fast enough in a straight line to run away from the field as they are steaming down on him, coming up to the second Mulsanne chicane. Oh my goodness, the A-Log is having the same issues with the ticket. Fantastic. Coming out of the second Mulsanne chicane, second, third, fourth, all nose to tail. Who pushes harder? Who tries to outbreak the others going into Mulsanne corner? Well, it looks like it's going to be David. He gets really aggressive under braking, hits the other BMW, scored Buffalo from behind. We're all exactly nose to tail here. Here comes Warner in the Ferrari around the outside. He'll be able to get the car alongside, but I don't think he's going to be able to complete the pass on the Ford GT. And because the Ford GT is able to brake so much deeper into these corners, I don't think this is going to work out for him. Big slide by Warner. He's still there. He's still on the inside of Beast. And the other Ferrari of LMP KNN has now dropped out. Beast has a respectable run out of Arnage. Here comes the Ferrari, though, of Warner. Trying to set himself up to have the inside line, try to deny Beast the ideal line coming into the Porsche curves. Just a bit of contact between the two of them, and it's worked. Beast, a little bit offline, has to fall back behind the Ferrari. Now Warner does everything he can to try to keep a Ford GT and 2 BMWs tucked up behind. Not want to let him get alongside him. Also, is anyone in our top 4 going to try and start making their first round stops now? Get into some cleaner air. Nope. Our top 4 all still stay on circuit. There's also close. You can pretty much throw a blanket on top of the big slide by Beast coming out of the Ford chicanes. But that Ford is very well trimmed out and set up to really close the gap down in the draft. Does not have a lot of straight line speed himself, but in the draft, that thing sucked up better than the rest of these cars, it feels like. Scored Buffalo now trying to pull up alongside AMS Beast as they go through the Dunlop curves. Not able to make it stick though. But as Warner opens up enough of a gap, is he far enough away from AMS Beast that he has broken the draft and can get away? VGT David falls off the back of the group just a little bit. If Beast has the draft off of that Ferrari, that'll be the biggest defense he can run. Chris Slow is going to pit as second in the prototype category, and Leakard will pit as well with him. But Zabri seems like he's finally putting together a stint that he needs. The Ford GT of Beast has caught the draft off of Warner. Looks to the inside. Drag race, Ford versus Ferrari, but the Ford can go so much deeper under braking. And once again, Beast goes back to the lead in GT. Ferrari on the outside. Oh, that was a bit of a cut by Beast, and he's also kind of hip-checked the Ferrari into the dirt. Just two cars trying to get into a racing line that was not wide enough to hold both of them up. As now they accelerate down the longest straightaway once more, and again the Ferrari looks to the outside. This would still give Beast a slightly more ideal line. Beast will be able to brake deeper into the corner and hold station. But it looks like Beast actually backed out of it and gave Warner the position back. Warner slides the car out of Indianapolis, down to Arnage. Beast really backed out of it just so he wouldn't end up hitting the Ferrari. Sets himself up for a fantastic exit. Sucks back up behind him now on the run up to the Porsche curves. Ford looks to the inside. And he makes it stick and gets it. He clips the Ferrari just as they get into the Ford's best corners. This could be a big chance for Beast to try and pull a gap on second and third. And now, all this time is raining. David back in the frame, but as I say that, Beast pits this lap. David pits this lap. So this will hand the lead back to HYR Warner and Scored Buffalo in GT. A lot of other GT drivers farther back all making their first stops as well. Keen Cameron, Flag, 4199, Apex Viper, and NWR Hyphen all trying to knock out stops now. But at the head of the prototype field, it is THR Zabri, followed by MRT Jackal, but Jackal is making his stop now. After that is VER Coca. Oh no, after that is Firebird and then VER Coca. And then the duo of D. Chris Slow and Leaford have both already made their first stop in the event thus far. Again, I do apologize. I'm trying to keep everything as accurate as I possibly can, but the ticker on our end is completely shot and busted. I can kind of make some heads and tails out of it, but not a lot. Whew. Good job by Firebird to clear that duo almost instantly. That's the duo of Beast and VGT David. These drivers are fighting for the top 4 positions against Warner and Scored Buffalo. Prototype catching GT in a straight line, no problem. Most of the straightaways are wide enough you can get alongside and get past without an issue. But if you catch those GTs into a heavy braking zone, that can significantly recap your lap times here. How aggressively is David going to try and get by Beast, or is David just going to say, hey, look, I realize the Ford GT has things set up. I'll just hang out in his draft and let him pull me around for a little bit. Real quickly, I want to look at our GT leaders right now. These drivers have not pitted yet. Looks like they're going to go about 28 minutes before making their first stops. A little bit of engine damage to the Ferrari. That's not going to help him, obviously. Oh, and he twitches into the dirt. And per usual, Scored Buffalo has near perfectly balanced tire wear on all 4 corners of that car. That's your prototype leader, Zabri, coming up behind our 2 GT leaders right now. But again, these 2 have not yet made their first stop. Zabri has also not yet made his first stop either. Oh, Zabri. Oh, Zabri. Oh, Zabri. Be careful. This is the corner that he's had 2 big accidents in already in earlier stints in the event. But he'll be clear of them. Took a little longer than he wanted it to. Zabri's paying this lap, and so is Scored Buffalo, but HYR Warner is going to stay out a little longer. Okay, so with Scored Buffalo pitting now, I have to wonder where that's going to put him in relation to AMS Beast and VGT David. This duo is not really making a lot of noise or fights between each other. They're just clicking off lap times at the moment. Warner in the Ferrari is your leader. He's the only GT driver to have not yet made his first stop. I think that Warner might have done the strategy to start the race on the medium tires and then do a bunch of shorter stints on the softs going forward here. Also, Coca has finally made his first stop in the prototype category. Zabri already out pit lane. Where is Scored Buffalo? You can see Buffalo just a little bit up the road. There he is. And it looks like it's going to be very easily in Scored Buffalo's favor. He has a significant gap between himself, Beast, and the duo of Beast and David right now. And with Warner dealing with a little bit of engine damage right now, I have a feeling that the fight for GT is already swinging in this driver's favor. So Zabri continues to lead. Second place is Firebird, by the looks of it. Then third would be D. Chris Slow. Fourth would be Leachard. Then it is a bit of a gap back to MRT Jackal. And then VER Coca. It does seem like as this is going on, the grid is starting to sort of fix itself a little bit. It's not going to be an accurate fix, but we are getting a little bit better at it right now. Oh, that's one of the protos who was denied off. No, that wasn't the pro. That was the Beast. That was AMS Beast, who got kind of hip checked off line by one of the protos there, going through the first Mulsanne. He is pulling away from David. So it might not matter too much, but still, I'm sure he's not going to be very happy about that. But yeah, as this is going on, it does seem like the grid is starting to organize itself a little bit more properly. Keyword is only a little bit, though. Using this angle so that way you'll be able to see the entire field blitz up on the run down to the Porsche curves. That is your GT leader right now, HYR Warner, the only driver who has yet to make his first stop. Has a significant gap between himself and the rest of the GT field for now. And then you'll see our prototype leader. That is Zabri. Then a clump of prototypes all around top of each other for a position. The fight for second in prototype, very active right now. Then it's going to be a bit of a wait until you see the GT field. And here they come. That's Scored Buffalo ahead of AMS Beast and VGT David. And that's another big gap until you get to 5th place in GT. Waiting to see where Warner is going to be in relation to this man here, Buffalo. Oh, Beast! Is something wrong with Beast? Is Beast damaged and I missed it? Because he is making his second stop very early. Oh, this car is destroyed! Something has happened to Beast that has completely destroyed his car. And that's going to derail any hopes that AMS Beast had of getting a good result. And with all corners of the car destroyed like that, I wonder what exactly happened to that machine. But anyways, between Scored Buffalo and HYR Warner, Warner has completed his pit stop. And it is Scored Buffalo who is just ahead of the Ferrari right now. And that is a big gap. I think this fight for GT victory might already be over. Unless Warner can absolutely close this gap down, something massive in the straights, I think this is over. Warner will have a bit of a tire advantage going forward. He can short stint softs all the way to the end here. So yeah, the ticker has finally somewhat collected itself and has at least grouped all of the prototypes together. They're not in the right order, but all the prototypes are finally grouped together at least. The game seems to think that Zabri, Jackal, and Coca, though, are an entire lap down to the trio of Firebird, Chris Slow, and Leacher. Not really sure what the issue is there to cause that. I'm watching this. Warner does not look like he is able to close in on Scored Buffalo at all. The frustrating thing for Warner is that back in, I believe it was Stint 3, we saw a similar thing develop. That time it was 2 Ferraris instead of just 1. But Buffalo just may not have had the greatest lap times, but he was able to do so much more on the tires. He was able to bang in some incredible laps as the tires were falling off. There was just nothing that the Ferraris could do, even though they were faster on their peak laps. The Ferraris had a significantly larger problem with tire fall off and just overall lap time fall off. Buffalo does not really deal with any lap time fall off. And as you can see, it looks like we're starting to see a similar thing develop right now. Buffalo just is not dealing with any real fall-off at all. Big slide back there by VGT David. So fourth now is this fight between PTG Eric and EMC Vision. Game seems to think that Eric is a lap down to the rest of the field for some reason. But it looks like most of the rest of the GT grid is ordered properly. So the game seems to think that Eric, Zabri, Jackal, and Coca are all a lap down from where they actually are. But most everyone else is ordered pretty accurately. So Eric is actually the driver in net fourth right now, trying to keep EMC Vision behind. Vision is your lobby host as well. So there's a bit of a confusion as to who was actually going to end up hosting the lobby, but Vision was able to step in and take over in the middle of that confusion. Meanwhile, for prototypes, Firebird and Chris Slow having a bit of a stalking battle for the second position. Then just behind them, it is Leechard and MRT Jackal. Coca has pretty much lost the plot compared to the prototypes. Not been a fantastic run for him thus far, but he has kept the car clean, and minimizing damage is going to be one of the most important things you can go for here. One thing to wonder is going to be if this man, VGT David, will have any shot of maybe catching Warner in the closing stints of the event. So Vision stays out, but Eric is going to make his second stop now after about 36 minutes. Again, Eric is way off on his own strategy right now. And then we have Mr. Pineapple, who is making his second stop now as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and knock out a ad break here. And when we come back, we'll likely start seeing the rest of our GT field begin to make their second round of stops. We'll be back shortly here at Circuit de la Stars de LeMans. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Circuit de la Stars. As we see, Chris Slow and Leechard pitting while they were in the middle of a roughly 4-car fight for the 2nd through 5th positions here. Again, I do apologize if you've not been with us. Our scoring ticker is not accurately showing positions right now. It's better than where it was earlier, and it has gradually gotten better as the event has gone on. Your leader, though, in Prototype is still this man here, THR Zabri. Had incidents in his earlier stints that kept him from winning, but it has been flying high, wide, and handsome. However, Zabri is not so far ahead that he could survive an accident. If he has an accident like what he had in the earlier stints, this entire stint victory could still go any way for the Prototype category. In GT, is Scored Buffalo. Not super aggressive on track, but able to push a lot more consistently without nearly as much tire fall off, without as much lap time fall off. He has inherited the lead over HYR Warner. VGT David runs in third right now. AMS Beast was fighting with this group in the top 4. However, Beast, shortly after making his first stop, had an accident. I can't tell if it was because of a prototype hitting him or if there was something else that saw. We did see Beast get knocked off track by a prototype in the first Mulsanne chicane, but it looked like he was able to continue from there. But then later on that lap, the car was completely damaged on all corners. Everything but 2 springs were destroyed, and that has cycled Beast well down the order. EMC Vision is pitting now. Vision is in 5th, but Vision has been in a fight with Eric for what will be 4th and 5th going on. The game seems to think that Eric has a lap down to the rest of the GT drivers. He is not. Vision and Eric and a pair of Porsches have been fighting between each other pretty much on merit, and I'm actually going to be a little bit curious to see where Vision is going to turn out on track in relation to PTG Eric here. That is also the Porsche of Apex Viper 55, who's just a little bit ahead of Eric as they go through the Ford chicanes here. 40 minutes down and an hour to go here for the final stint for the C Lobby for TORA's 24 Hours of Le Mans. And EMC Vision will end up behind Apex Viper. Here comes Eric. Eric will easily beat Vision to the Dunlop chicane. But he's not completely broken away from him. Vision is still close enough they could get a draft still off of Eric. If he gets a draft, it will be barely, but it would help significantly. Trying to close down once again on the first third of Mulsanne Straight. Eric does not look like he's close enough to get a draft off of Viper, though. So after it all, Viper might be ahead of him for now, but Viper has yet to make his second stop of the day. So Viper will likely, as this goes on, cycle back behind this duo. A trio of Porsches all on top of each other now. That's the Ford GT of AMS Beast a little bit behind this group. Beast trying to dig deep and dig himself out of the hole that the accident put him in. And Viper just pulls off the racing line. He does not want to fight this duo on merit, so he just pulls over and lets the two of them go by. Chris Slow and Leachard right now are the last 2 drivers in the prototype category, but that's just because they've already made their second stop. Last of the prototype drivers who have yet to make their second stop is VER Coca. Started up front, was honestly very punchy for the first 2 laps or so, but ran off into the dirt coming out of Mulsanne corner. Kind of knocked him down the grid just a little bit, sadly. Coca is actually a real-life racer. Spent a little bit of time karting, now does a bit of Formula Ford racing. I believe he's going to be at one of the big events at the Indianapolis, well, one of the, not the Indy 500 big, but he's going to be racing one of the events at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the next week or 2, so keep an eye on that. You might actually see one of your own TORA drivers running in that if you're in the Indianapolis, Indiana area. Ahead of him is this fight between Jackal and Firebird right now. Although it's not really a direct knife-out fight, it's more of a stalking battle. Jackal can see Firebird ahead, but he is not really in a position to put the pressure on. In GT, VGT David is going to pit out of the 3rd position. Scored Buffalo continues to lead easily over HYR Warner. Most of the battles on track have pretty much dissolved, with the exception of, and now we see King Cameron join David in the track. But yeah, outside of this fight between Eric and Eric and Vision, most of the battles on track seem to have pretty much dissolved already. A lot more calmer and relaxed. Stint 12 to finish out this event. Hyphen's going to make his second stop now. So will Flag. Curious if any of these trio will make their stop here. And yes, Viper is going to stop now and end up behind this duo. And again, Eric is on the same lap as Vision. They are fighting on merit for a position right now. They are just dealing with a little bit of a offset when it comes to their stint strategy right now. Marty Jackal now pitting out of that fight for second, so that will cycle him down the prototype order just a bit here. But it's still Zabri, Firebird, and Coca, the three protos who have not yet hit out of the top positions in the prototype field. Alright, we're going to go quiet for a lap. Just let you watch and listen to the fight here between the Porsche GTs. We'll be back in a few minutes here. A little bit of a technical issue is starting to develop on my end, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to try and keep the focus on this fight, but I can't guarantee how long this is going to last. But please stand by as we try to resolve these technical issues. All right, welcome back to Circuit de la Sarthe. I do apologize for those technical issues there. While we were away, VER Coca seems to have lagged out, which is going to pretty much derail any run he had here, and any run that team has. And now there are only 5 prototypes still running. Firebird right now is the only prototype who has yet to make his second stop. Zabri will inherit the lead back once Firebird does make his second stop. In GT, HYR Warner again is pushing the Stint long. It's given him a significant gap on track for the moment over Scored Buffalo. Last time Warner did this, though, he ended up just a little bit behind Buffalo. He has a little bit of engine damage, but not a ridiculous amount. He can probably pit either this lap or next lap and be in a okay position. Everyone else in GT has already made their second stop. It's just Warner who seems to be pushing the first stint a little long. So now he's trying to build himself a positive tire delta basically to the end of the run here. Again, you are required to get all 4 of your mandatory stops in before that race timer says 00:30:00. We've had 3 dropouts. ENV Rouge dropped out in the first lap. LMP KN98 dropped out about 4 to 5 laps into the event. And VER Coca has just dropped out in the last few minutes here. Well, despite the accident earlier, AMS Beast is slowly working his way through the field. He has recovered up to about 5th position right now. Well, 6th position, I believe. Behind EMC, Vision, and, well, he's actually ahead of Eric right now. On track by the looks of it, I believe. Am I seeing this right? Yeah, I believe he is ahead of Eric on track. It's a little hard to tell exactly. Let me see here. No, Eric is still ahead of him. Okay. So yeah, Beast is in 6th overall then, still behind Eric and EMC Vision right now. This pair of Porsches have been in a bit of a fight. Not a very aggressive fight. They've not been doing anything crazy, but they have been in a fight for a prolonged period of time. That is, I believe, oh, and here we are, Firebird coming into the pits of the lead, well, yeah, out of the lead in prototype, so that will give the lead back over to Zabri. Again, there is a little bit of a hiccup in the ticker, and it seems to think that Zabri, Jackal, and Eric are all a lap farther behind them where they actually are. Now, there are a handful of other issues, but that's closer in terms of just a few feet rather than an entire lap of difference. So just remember, Leakert is the one, Zabri is the one leading in that group, and Jackal will be a little bit hard, but we'll have to manually figure out where Jackal is as this goes on. And then GT, just remember that Eric, as long as he continues to fight with Vision, then Eric is actually in this fight for what is currently the 5th position on track. And that is AMS Beast still behind. Ooh, big slide. Who was that? Had that massive slide. Was that Jackal? Yes, it was Jackal in the Apex entry that had that gigantic slide coming out of the Ford chicanes there. You and I both saw it happen. And he's sliding again. Well, there's no doubt in my mind that he is absolutely hustling the car, but with all the sliding he's doing, I have to wonder if he's just costing himself more time than actually benefiting himself any. Finally gets to the inside of Eric. He should be able to get alongside him by Vision! And Vision is going to be compromised by that significantly, and Eric is right there behind now. Again. So does Eric take this as a chance to make a move? Does he try and dive bomb by? Again, AMS Beast is a little bit behind. If this duo starts fighting, Beast is going to close down almost instantly on this pair of Porsches. Here comes Eric to the inside. But it looks like Vision is just confident enough that the car is going to be able to keep his machine ahead and hold the top position for just a bit longer. Second Mulsanne chicane. Yeah, it does seem like in this fight, Vision overall has the advantage over Eric. game seems to think that Beast is close enough to directly fight with them for position. You can visually see that is not the case. But Beast is obviously closing in on this Porsche Dirt duo. So Beast is continuing his recovery drive. Warner still has yet to make his second stop. All right, here comes Eric. He looks to the inside of Vision once more. Reminder, this is the fight for 4th and 5th. Eric inside, Vision outside. Eric looks like he's going to just about clear that Porsche. And he's cleared them all together. To head into Indianapolis and Arnage. Ooh, wow, Vision really slides the rear of that car. He'll keep it under him, though. But now it seems like the momentum, even if it's just briefly, has swung in favor of Eric here. Warner has finally made his second stop. He still has about 35 minutes to make the remaining 2 stops of the day. Now, this duo is going to be approached by AMS Beast, as Beast is going to close massively in the Porsche curves. Already, the game seems to think that Beast is ahead of Vision. We know that's not the case, but that seems to be what the game is under the belief of. So this could turn into a menage a trois for this fight for 4th. And unsurprisingly, after it was all done and over with, Scored Buffalo still ends up well ahead of HYR Warner. Actually, that gap's not as big as it was earlier. It's not gotten any smaller, but the gap is maintained, so might not be the worst case. Warner started this stint ahead of Buffalo on track, which suggests that Warner's Ferrari entry has a better overall distance. However, stint 11 is still not done as far as I understand, or if it is, it's only recently got done. So that could also have semi-randomized how that's going to go. AMS Beast has made his 3rd stop a little bit early, so now EMC Vision is going to be turning laps on track by himself, with no Ford GT of AMS Beast trying to run him down. And with Beast doing that, he has about 33 minutes to knock out his final stop. So with 43 minutes left, I imagine Beast will try and cut the remaining time left. He'll try and make his final stop with about 21 minutes left in the event, I would imagine. His Vision tucked up behind Eric once again. In the prototype category, it is still Zabri who leads, but his advantage over the field has shrunk a little bit. 2nd place is now D. Chris Slow. Slow's gotten away from the rest of the prototypes and is running, not outright running down Zabri, but he is, kind of closing the gap just enough to make it seem like that's the case. Then you have Firebird, who is 3rd, followed by MRT Jackal, who is 4th, and 5th place is Leecher. There's still a battle on for 3rd in prototypes. I could still swing in a lot of different ways here. Ooh, very nearly off circuit there coming out of Arnage. Oh, big slide by Jackal. Well, like I said earlier, you can't say Jackal's not pushing. We've seen him really sliding the rear of that prototype around, just trying everything he can to close down the car ahead. But at some point, you have to start pushing ridiculously and just start, normally trying to chase lap time here. Not go for anything crazy, just go for nice, consistent, smooth times. But Jackal does not seem to care for that right now. He really is trying to put on a show, and heck, I'm not going to complain. Feeling the strangest sense of deja vu right now. Jackal's a little wide through Tetra Rouge. But is he close enough to get the draft off of Firebird? I'm sorry, not Firebird. Off of, no, it is Firebird. Closing down in a straight line. PTG Eric now makes his third stop of the day. He'll be the second driver to make his third stop. So I'm curious where Eric is going to be in relation to Beast, because remember, those two were just on the edge of fighting on merit for position. Here they are, side by side for third in prototypes. And it looks like for now, Jackal's got him. Puts the power down and tears away from Firebird. Firebird's got the draft. He'll use that to try and negate any loss in time here. Oh, and Firebird into the dirt, and that will pretty much solve that in Jackal's favor. So now Firebird might have to deal with Leechard on merit. Meanwhile, where is Beast in relation to PTG Eric? Here's Beast. And Eric is still clear of AMS Beast right now. So that could suggest good things for EMC Vision once Vision makes his stop. Probably stay out for a few more laps if he so chooses. Alright, come on, please wait. Alright, there we are, yep. I do apologize for that. Another technical issue, this time in the form of a controller disconnect. D. Chris Slow is going to pit out of second, so this opens up the lead massively in THR Zabri's favor. Again, Zabri has 27.5 minutes to make his last two stops of the event. So just for the moment, Leechard ends up ahead of G. Chris Slow. Jackal now in second overall, but Leechard is not too far behind. And Firebird, who has slipped fourth after running off into the dirt coming out of the Mulsanne corner. He has a small amount of engine damage as well. That's not going to help him. But I think he'll be able to catch the draft off of Leechard down the straight here. So Cameron, Hyphen, and Flag have all made their third stops right now. At the moment is just the top 3 in GT. Buffalo, Warner, and Vision, who have yet to make their third stops in the GT category. A little bit more open-ended for the prototypes. Prototypes seem to be pushing their numbers just a little bit later into the event thus far. Excuse me. Second, third, and fourth, and prototypes all run on top of each other right now. Firebird, Jackal, and Leecher. Not in that exact order. Oh! And he's around! Leecher! In the Porsche curves, he's rolled it! The car is rolled over in the dirt! And it's destroyed! On all corners! Now, thankfully, it is at the Porsche curves. He'll be able to keep going, bring the thing into the pits. Jackal will go ahead and pit this time around as well. Leecher's not going to lose a ridiculous amount of time, but he is going to now fall behind. That's D. Chris Slow, who's already made his third stop. So Leecher is likely going to get shunted to last of the running prototypes here after a spin leading into a roll in the dirt here in the Porsche curves at not quite the halfway point of the final stint here. Zabary still has yet to make his third stop. Ford GT gets way out of the way of the prototype. Does not want to hold up the top category in the slightest if he can help it. How much longer is Leecher going to stay out? How much more fuel and tire does he have? Oh, he's going to have to pit this lap just because of how little fuel is going to be left at the end of it. Meanwhile, at the head of the GT field, it is still Scored Buffalo, who has gradually been opening a small gap between himself and Warner. Again, Warner has went really long in the very first stint, and he's been short-fielding since. So while Buffalo was doing a good job not really dealing with any time fall-off, Warner is minimizing his own time fall-off as well. If something happens to Buffalo, if he gets hip checked off track by a prototype, something like that, it could push him right back into Warner's grasp here. And then we have EMC Vision, who has been fighting with PTG Eric and may have an outside threat from AMS Beast he'll have to consider as well. How much longer is he going to stay out? He can probably go for another lap if he so chooses. I would consider coming in this time by, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Okay, so where is Vision going to end up in relation to Eric? And here comes AMS Beast. And remember, AMS Beast is going to be fighting with Eric and Vision for track position. Beast is in with probably a top 3 car, but an accident earlier has taken him out of it. Prototype, THR Zabary, the prototype leader, finally making his third stop of the day. But Eric has been caught by AMS Beast. And for Vision's already out of the pit, so Vision is actually pulled away from Eric and Beast now. So now the fight is between a Ford GT and a Porsche here. This would be for 5th and 6th place. And the Ford trying to dig deep. Ford JT is able to get the draft, if you can pull up alongside in the braking zone, you should be able to clear Eric without too much issue. Well, I said that's what would happen, and that's exactly what Beast does. Now, Eric will have the straight line speed to close back in on the Ford GT in the straights, but if he's not back ahead of Beast once they get to the Porsche curves, I have a feeling that Beast will open up and walk away, and Beast is going to recover to at least a 5th place position by the looks of it. Everyone has a little less than 20 minutes left to knock out their final stops. Scored Buffalo and HYR Warner both are going really deep on this stint. Although with that little fuel left, I imagine Buffalo would have to stop this time by. As for Warner and the Ferrari, he'll probably be stopping this time as well. So it might be a battle between the Ferrari and the BMW on pit road. Both of them are a long clear of VGT David, who seems to be in what's now going to be a lonely looking 3rd place. And here comes Buffalo and Warner, your GT category leaders. Actually, based on how this works out, we might end up with a brief moment where all cars, regardless of class, are basically on the same roughly 1/3 of the racetrack. VGT David, 8th overall, 3rd in GT, but he has lost a significant amount of time to this duo. Looked like, if anything, the gap may have very slightly opened up more in Buffalo's favor here after they complete pit stops. And again, they are way clear of David right now. David, confident in 3rd. Beast is in 5th, trying to run down EMC Vision. He's gotten by Eric, but has not been able to completely blitz away from Eric, though. He's going to put a little bit more frustration for Beast. A little bit more than halfway through this final stint in the C-Line. Yeah, it's going to be very brief, but if you look right now, the entire field is basically sharing the same half of the track right now. Crazy how that works out. Giant 8.5-mile circuit, and it seems like you're still constantly struggling with everyone on track at the same time on top of each other. Firebird still has yet to make his 3rd stop. All of the prototypes have done at least 3 of their 4 mandatory stops. Like, no one has made their final stop yet, and for good reason. There's still 26 minutes left. You don't want to throw on soft tires now and have them really hurting and falling off near the very end of the run here. That is Zabri, who is running down Firebird despite being an entire pit cycle behind. So, yeah, anyone who had doubts about Zabri's ability might want to consider putting that to rest now, because he is digging deep and recovering. Well, not even recovering. He's legitimately been one of, if not the fastest guy, I would say outright the fastest guy, in this final stint. Meanwhile, Eric continues to hound AMS Beast. Is Eric going to be able to do anything to the Ford GT on the run down to Indianapolis and Arnage? Because if not, this will be a good chance for Beast to really pull away from Eric, and it looks to me like Eric is just slow coming out of Mulsanne corner that time. Oh, he's got a small amount of engine damage, and that's not going to help him either, obviously. He's caught the draft of the Ford GT, but he still is going to have to brake really early compared to Beast. Yeah, unless Beast has something else go wrong, I think this fight is pretty much decided in Beast's favor. So Beast is going to be in 5th position and now has to try and run down EMC Vision to try and snipe 4th from him. And Firebird finally pits. So all prototype drivers now only have one more stop left to do here. Big slide by Vision out of the Porsche curves. You can see AMS Beast visually closing down on him. Well, we're going to go ahead and knock out an ad break here. And when we come back, we'll likely see drivers begin to set themselves up for what will be their final pit stops of the day. We'll be back shortly here at Circuit de la Sarthe de Le Mans. Welcome back to Circuit de la Sarthe de Le Mans here. About 12 minutes left for everyone to knock out their final stop and about 22 minutes left in the event overall. There is a fight for 4th. EMC Vision right now has it. AMS Beast and that Ford GT in the background wants it. And the Ford GT is slowly closing in. But closing in and catching is one thing. Passing and making the pass stick is another. Also ignore the ticker. The ticker has a little bit of a hiccup where it's thinking that Beast is like another 200 feet ahead of where he actually is. We do have to apologize for that. I am sorry that that is an issue. We've been dealing with ticker problems all stint long. The leader in prototypes is THR Zabri, leading over D. Chris Slow. 3rd is Firebird. 4th is MRT Jackal. Oh, Slow. He's got a bit of engine damage, but not a lot. And then last is Leacher. Leacher was running a little higher up, but had an instant going through the Porsche curves and actually rolled his car over in the dirt in the process. And that has kicked Leacher down to last of the running prototype still. In GT, it has scored Buffalo, and while HYR Warner has stayed close enough to keep Buffalo honest, Buffalo isn't really a man who makes a lot of mistakes in the first place. 3rd place seems to be very solidly VGT David. He's just kind of in no man's land right now. Too slow to fight for the lead, but too fast to really deal with the drivers behind. So David likely setting himself up for a good third place finish as long as nothing goes wrong for him in these last 20 or so minutes. Then you have the fight for fourth. Right now, EMC Vision has it, but Beast wants it, and Beast is closing. Beast is in fifth right now. Sixth place is this man here, PTG Eric, and if something happens to those two ahead, he would capitalize, and Beast is going to pit now. So Beast pits with 20 minutes left. Reminder, Beast had an accident. He is in a top 3 car, but had an accident, had to get off sequence and repair the car. So the fact that he is even remotely in contention for a top 5 result after that accident is huge. Speaks massively in Beast's favor and his ability as a driver. But he is going to be on a tire disadvantage to the end of this race by the looks of it. Not a massive one. He should be able to overcome it, but still, those tires are not going to be feeling great when this is all said and done and over with here. Chris Slow is honestly putting together enough consistent, smooth laps. If Zabri has a hiccup at the head of the field, doesn't have to be a big one, but if Zabri just has like a spin like we saw him have happen in the prior stint, all of a sudden, Slow is going to be right there fighting for this stint win. Apex Viper is now making his final stop. About 19 minutes left in the event. Relatively calm final stint for the C lobby, though. Although this fight here between Vision and Beast is going to be one to watch. Beast has been faster than Vision, been running Vision down over the last several laps. Vision would actually spend a long time fighting with Eric on track, but that gap, obviously, as you can see, has opened up in Vision's favor. But depending on where Vision ends up once he makes his final stop, we'll see if there's going to be a fight here for what will be fourth overall. Chris Slow now pitting out of the second position in the hypercar category, well, the prototype category. All things considered, HYR Warner is doing a good job keeping Buffalo honest. You can see Buffalo's BMW just up the road. They made their third stop on the exact same lap, and I imagine their final stop will come at the exact same time either. Either they're going to pit this lap or they're going to pit the very next circle around. There's really not a whole lot of room for anything else just due to the amount of time left in the event. But we are going to stay with you. We're going to stay on track here to the end of the stint. We will not have any more ad breaks to the end here. So we will stay with you on track to the end. EGT David now pitting out third. So briefly, EMC Vision. We have to wonder, is Vision going to pit this time or not? David should be confidently ahead of Beast and Vision as long as David doesn't have an accident. Third should be easily locked up for him in that purplish BMW. Vision is not pitting this time, so he's going to go another lap around. Drivers missing pit stops has been a big issue. I covered one of the A lobbies in the middle of the night, stint 7, and 2 GT drivers missed their final stop. They did take it, but was way after the required time. And then in the first lobby, the first stint in the C lobby, ZR Amarillos, who had the biggest distance, had also made his final stop too late. So that brings a penalty, although we don't really know for certain what the penalty is going to be for a majority of the drivers, but it does bring a significant hefty penalty. All right, this is AMS Beast, who's already made his final stop, so he's going to get by Cameron, Hyphen, and Mr. Pineapple here, as that trio are all on pit lane at the moment. Oh, into the dirt and big slide. That's not going to help Beast out in the slightest. That might be the all EMC Vision needs to hold station over the Ford GT entry. In fact, Eric just came out of the pits, and Eric can still see AMS Beast. So, yeah, I think that EMC Vision might still be ahead of Beast, all things considered. Not by a massive amount, but I think he's still going to be there at that big slide from the Ford GT entry. 15 minutes left. For Zabri, I imagine he will pit this time by. He could stay out for another lap, but no, it is confirmed he will be pitting on this circuit. This will push him back to where Slow is. Flag is also knocking out his final stop right now as well. So Firebird still has yet to make his final stop. He is second on track right now, but once he pits, the lead will go back to, well, second place will go back to D. Chris Slow. The interesting thing is going to be, how close is Slow going to be to Zabri? Because Zabri opened up a big gap early on, but as this event has burned on, the gap is slowly closing down in Slow's favor. I think Zabri should still have the overall stint win, but there is a possibility that Slow could catch and fight with Zabri if Zabri has any sort of hiccup or issue here. Alright, it looks like Firebird is going to stay out for another circuit here. What of Leechard? I don't think Leechard has the ability to just wait. I think Leechard is going to have to pit right now, right away here. Because he will not have enough time left on circuit to stay out again. Also, Leechard had that accident earlier, so it would probably be in his best interest to pit now, and yes, he will. That would put Leechard back in 5th position. Again, Firebird up into 2nd once more. Game says first, but again, the game seems to think that Zabri is a lap behind where he actually is. Same with Jackal. But yeah, once Firebird makes his stop, he'll fall back behind. Slow is in the pits again. No, and D. Chris Slow, who had been closing down on Zabri, has had an accident, and the car is destroyed, and he has to make a 5th stop. Well, that pretty much locks up this race in Zabri's favor now for the prototypes. Tremendous drama here for Slow. In fact, this will put Leechard ahead of Slow now. So despite rolling his car earlier, now he's going to be ahead. Alright, EMC Vision is now making his stop. So that will drop him behind David, we know that. But where is AMS Beast going to be in relation to him? We also know that Firebird will have to pit as they come to the line. He's the only driver to have yet made his final stop. He is waiting until the last possible moment to knock it out. Alright, EMC Vision already coming out of pit lane by the looks of it. And Beast has just now come out of the Ford chicanes. I think that's pretty clear. Vision has maintained his gap over Beast. If anything, I think that gap has actually opened up a bit. So I think Beast is only going to have to settle for a 5th place result. For your leaders in GT, Scored Buffalo has slowly been opening the gap between himself and Warner. Again, Buffalo has a mistake, slides wide, hits a wall, slides off track, gets punted off circuit by a prototype. Obviously, Warner will be right there to capitalize. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. All right, Firebird should be making his final stop in just a few seconds here. I will drop him back to, well, he might actually still be 2nd, all things considered, because D. Chris Slow has had that accident that has put him now last of the prototypes. Jackal is 3rd right now, but a long way back, so Firebird might still walk out of this with 2nd in prototypes. We'll see here shortly. Yeah, I don't think Jackal is anywhere close to Firebird. Again, for those of you who have forgotten, we are dealing with a ticker issue. The game thinks that Zabri, Jackal, and Eric are all an entire lap behind where they actually are. There's a similar issue with AMS Beast, where the game thinks that Beast is about 250 feet ahead of where he actually is on track. So the ticker is not super active right now. It was much, much worse at the start of the day, but as it has gone on, it has semi-fixed itself. Firebird still in the pits. He's just come out pit lane, and he's accelerating out. A bit of an abuse on the pit lane exit. I don't know if TORA is going to make any issue out of that, though. But yeah, Firebird is still second out of it all. Jackal is just not close enough to do anything to him. So Firebird looks like he's going to pull off third place. Fourth place, Firebird's going to pull off second. Jackal third, Leechard fourth, and fifth will be D. Chris Slow. Did we just lose someone else? And that's PTG Eric. Yep, that is PTG Eric we have lost. And Eric was fighting for what would have been a 6th place position, only to be derailed with less than 10 minutes left. Frustration. We'll try to reach out to Eric, see if he has anything to say. Also, as we watch our GT field come through the Ford chicanes, GT cars will have about 2 more entire laps to knock out here. That's 3rd place, David. 4th place is EMC Vision, but a long way back. And D. Chris Slow! And Slow, who he was still running, but now another prototype driver drops out. So all of a sudden, drivers are starting to drop like flies in the closing minutes of the event. No! Zabri! What? Zabri! Coming into the pits! Zabri! He's been leading, been dominant, but he's had another accident! And in the last 10 minutes! Does Zabri have enough of a lead to maintain the top spot? Oh, Eric in the chat says that someone crashed into an electric pole right outside of his house. Zabri has crashed out! Does he have enough of a gap over Firebird to maintain this position? Firebird, is he going to maybe back into a fight for this stint win? Zabri still in the pits right now. Here comes Firebird. 6.5 minutes left. Zabri still on pit road. We could all of a sudden have a fight for the prototype win on our hands. Here comes Firebird. He's by. He's ahead. Zabri has only now got out of pit lane. Now he can see Firebird, but he only has 6 minutes and some change left, so he's going to have this lap and the majority of one more lap to try and catch Firebird. Firebird's not really been the fastest here, but he's been clean. He has been consistent. And he pushed his final stint really late, so his tires are not going to be dealing with a lot of fall off here. With a little less than 6 minutes left, I think our prototype leaders are going to catch the back end of GT traffic. But all of a sudden, the fight is alive. Drama for the prototype category once more on the run to the end here. We're right on board with Zabri. The car right ahead, that is Firebird. That is the man that Zabri has to catch and pass to win this stint. Now the ticker will not properly show that, because again, the ticker thinks Zabri is an entire lap behind where he actually is. But here comes what could be a Herculean run to the end. That gap is visually closing, but is it enough? No, it's not, because Zabri's just gone into the dirt, into the wall, and that's going to be over. There's no damage to the car, but that's going to be it. That gap is going to be too big, and Firebird, I think, is going to walk off with it. Just minimizing mistakes, not getting involved in incidents. And Leechard, at minimum, the third time today, he has been the third time in this event that he has been the fastest car in a stint, has had a self-inflicted accident take him out of it. It's so frustrating for Zabri. He had such a gigantic gap over the rest of the field, and the second place driver had dropped out as well, but not enough of a gap that he had over Firebird. Is there a chance for Jackal to catch Zabri? I don't think so. I think the gap between Zabri and Jackal is big enough that as long as Zabri doesn't total the car here in the Porsche curve again, Zabri will still bring home second, but it should have been a win. A little less than 3.5 minutes left, so everyone has not quite a full lap left. Although for Buffalo here, along with Warner and David, I believe that our leading trio in GT will be able to finish this lap, and they'll end their races a little bit past the start-finish line here. Apex Viper has had an instant that has required him to make a 5th stop today as well. So in GT, our finishing order looks like it's going to be Buffalo, Warner, David, Vision, Beast, Cameron, Hyphen, Pineapple, Flag, and Viper. Only 10 of our GT drivers are still running at the finish. Prototype, only 4 of our starters are still going to be running at the finish. And it looks like it will be Firebird, Zabri, Jackal, Leechard as our 4 finishers. About 2.5 minutes left. Our leader in Prototype, Firebird, is going to catch a little bit of GT traffic, but I think it's not going to hamper him too much, catching him primarily in straightaways. Again, the big thing is we don't really know where everyone's distances are and where their team's distances, total distances are, because C11 started so bloody late. We have no idea where everyone's actual final results are going to be here. And everyone's team's final results are going to be. You're going to have to check the TORA Discord or maybe the TORA forums to get that information. Boy, you can visibly see Zabri has closed that gap down, but it's just too much, too late for him. A minute left. And scored Buffalo will go, at least for the stints I've broadcasted, 3 for 3, but I do believe he may have had a disconnect in one of the stints overnight. .30 seconds left. Warner crosses the line. David will cross the line as well. I think this is the biggest gap we have seen our top 3 in GT open up in the course of a stint in the C lobby. That is, Vision might be able to just get to the line here. But in Prototype, Firebird has just a few seconds left, and it will be over. Boy, Leechard is coming, but with 2 seconds left, 1 second left. Time's up, over, wow! So Firebird wins in Prototype, and look how close look how close Zabri pulled the gap down at the end. And you have to wonder if Zabri didn't slide off into the dirt after the incident. Would he have been just close enough? Could he have at least put the bumper to Firebird? Third place will be MRT Jackal. Fourth place will be Leechard. Not where he wanted to be, but considering that 2 other drivers dropped out, and he's not even half a lap, not even a third of a lap behind the leader in Prototypes, I'm sure he should be relatively happy with that. In GT, your winner is Scored Buffalo. 3 for 3 for since I've covered at least that he has won in this year's TORA 24 Hours. Xwire Warner takes home another second place behind that BMW. Then VGT David in third. Bit of a distant third, but a good result in the BMW. Fourth place will be EMC Vision in the Porsche. Fifth will be AMS Beast. After an accident early on, he's able to recover to a 5th place result at least, but he should have been in the top 3. We know he had the pace for a top 3 result. King Cameron will be 6th, another BMW. 7th will be NWR Hyphen. 8th will be Mr. Pineapple. 9th will be Flag 4199, and 10th will be Apex Viper. So, we are going to go ahead and take a bit of a break here. Knockout and ad break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be able to talk with some of our top finishers in the 2 categories here and get their general thoughts on this final stint and their team's overall possibility of winning out of all the C Lobby entrants here at TORA's 24 Hours. We'll be back shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Circuit de la Sarthe. We are just waiting for the TORA officials to finish calculating everyone's final distances here. Once that's recorded and updated, we will throw some invites out to some of our top finishers here. And now we see Firebird moving, so we know that they're just about done. So we're going to start sending invites out here. All right. Do you have the ability to include your audio?
Yep, just did it.
All right, sweet. Well, it's finally over. It has taken a ridiculous amount of time, but TORA 24 Hours of Le Mans, at least for the C lobby, is over. HYI Warner, second place again behind Buffalo at the end of one of these stints. But it looks like that team should have a decent overall distance. How do you feel about your performance here and your team's overall shots after all this is over?
I think my performances have been absolutely solid for the 3 stints that I took part in. Second in the first stint, third in the second stint that I did, and then second again. All really solid performances in the way I was following people, the consistency, and really how the car performed and how I got it to perform. The team's chances are very good, apart from I think the stint just before me. I think we had a disconnect, so that's gonna hurt us a little bit. But overall, I think it's a really good performance from the guys, and it's something that the whole team should be proud of, really.
All right, Firebird, just hey now, I'll get an interview with you in shortly. All right, well, Warner, I do want to ask one more thing. Now that this is over, what other racing series can we catch you in? What other stuff do you like to race out here?
So the other series that you can see me in is P1R Racing. We've actually got a race around Le Mans as well. It's all GT cars, so I will be in the Ford Mustang, which is a new one. And I will also be in the OMA GT Championship as well. I'll be taking part in that.
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on that. A real GT connoisseur you are. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, Warner. Real quickly, I want to talk with our prototype winner, Firebird. Firebird, in the Xbox party, there should be an option to include your audio. But congratulations on pulling out a very unexpected win in the final stint. That seemed to be an absolutely messy scenario all across the board for the prototypes. What was that stint like for you?
Man, I just kept it on the track. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. When everybody else was making mistakes, hitting walls, and going off into the dirt, my main objective was just to keep it on the track and keep it moving fast.
Well, no doubt in my mind you kept the thing on track. I think the only time you went off circuit was to come into the pits by the looks of it. When did you realize you had a shot at winning this?
When Zabri pit that last time, I realized he had been going in the pits like every 3 or 4 laps. So I kind of figured he had to do a 5-stop strategy. So I was really pushing it on those last 3 laps to try to get within range of passing him. And thankfully, I didn't get slowed up by the GT cars too much and was able to make the pass and have it stick.
Well, great job on pulling this off. I do have to ask, have you ever won one of these TORA stints before?
No, my first stint was stint 6, and I placed second, 65 feet behind the leader. And this is my first Toro stint. This is actually my first Toro race, too.
Well, hey, winning in what's only your second ever stint is honestly not a bad result. I won't lie, I kind of expect great things out of you in the future then, potentially, with that kind of record.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
All right, one more question I do want to ask. What other stuff can we see you racing in? What other Forza events do you partake in?
Well, I love touring cars. That's really my main strength. So if there's any touring car leagues open and running, I'll try to get up with them. Toro, I'll still be racing in Toro. I think the 24 hours of Nürburgring is is up next, so I might try out for that.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to your results there. But, mate, great job on the win. Very unexpected win, but great job on the win. We look forward to seeing what you do in the future. We will watch your career with great interest.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, one more driver we want to talk to here is Scored Buffalo. Buffalo, 3 for 3 for stints that I've seen you win thus far in this event. How do you feel after that's over, and how do you feel about your team's overall distance results for the event?
In terms of my performance, I think it really couldn't have gone much better. I mean, besides the obvious first couple laps where you get a little, or where everyone gets punched up and then start battling each other until pit stops roll around. After that, I just ran pretty smoothly. There's no real big issues that happened during my stints, and the fact that I won them all, I mean, that's not really much you could do, or much more than that you can do. So I'm happy with that. In terms of my team's overall distance, I think we'll place pretty well. Seeing from what my other teammates did at the FL and maybe, they seem to also ran their stints pretty cleanly. Nothing really happened. They didn't crash. They didn't get taken out. So I'm hoping it's for a good result here, but we'll just have to see. And plus penalties.
All right. Well, with this done, I also know that IFEA has recently wrapped up their Mustang Challenge, so I do have to ask, what are you going to be racing in the near future? What other stuff are you looking forward to partaking in?
That's a good question. There is a series in the works, but it's not IFEA. So I might be doing something into that. There's also a couple other leagues that I'm kind of interested in that have to do with GT3s, because for me, I'm most at home with GT cars. I really like them. So I mean, you probably see me in another GT car, just saying. But yeah.
Well, we'll keep an eye on you then. See where else we can see you crop up at. But good job on, once again, being your dominant self in these TORA C Lobby stints. It seems like every event I stream for TORA, you're in the C Lobby, and almost every time you're here, you seem to dominate your stints. So congratulations on keeping that reputation up here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that in mind, that will pretty much wrap up our broadcast here for LeMans this year. I am going to close down the broadcast. I've been your host for today's broadcast, Insane Leader 13. After doing 14 of this hours of this 25-hour event, we are done. I will see you all in about a week's time for the next event in the PTG NASCAR series. But until then, farewell and goodbye, everyone.